Hello, lovely listeners. I'm Julia, who will help you relax and fall asleep tonight. What time is it for you right now? And did anything make you laugh or smile today? Share it below in the comments. Once upon a time, in a vast kingdom nestled between silver mountains and emerald forests, there reigned a mighty king whose rule spanned many lands. Yet even in his power and wisdom, the king had been troubled by a seed of doubt. His 3 sons, strong, clever, and handsome in their own way, stirred anxious whispers within him. He feared that despite his apparent control of the realm, the glory of his bloodline might one day be eclipsed by one of his heirs. Consumed by a mixture of love and suspicion, he sought to distract his sons from schemes of rebellion and cunning ambitions. By setting them seemingly impossible tasks, challenges that would test not only their resourcefulness, but also the depths of their characters. One radiant morning, as the dew still clung to the green blades of grass in the palace gardens, the king summoned his sons to the grand hall, where magnificent tapestries depicted scenes of ancient conquests and benevolent reigns. His voice echoed, booming with solemn authority. "My sons, the time has come to prove your worth. I decree that the one who can procure the smallest and most beautiful dog shall be named my heir. You have 1 year to bring me this creature of incomparable charm and wonder." The oldest 2 sons exchanged quick glances and murmured among themselves, while the youngest, quiet and soft-spoken, simply nodded in acceptance with a private smile hidden behind thoughtful eyes. Thus, the 3 princes dispersed from the palace. The eldest son, full of pride and determination, strode forth with his retinue. He traveled across thriving markets and bustling towns, searching among dog breeds renowned for their beauty. He encountered merchants with lavish stalls and breeders with pedigreed canines, but every candidate he found, though refined, seemed far too large or lacking the delicate allure that his father had demanded. The second prince, known for his shrewd mind and discerning taste, also ventured in search of an exquisite specimen. He visited the poorest villages, hoping that the charm of a modest dog might be hidden in plain sight, yet the dogs of the common folk proved neither small enough nor striking enough in elegance. Meanwhile, the youngest son, whose heart was filled with curiosity and whose spirit was as gentle as a summer breeze, set off quietly along a winding path that led him deep into the ancient woods. The forest canopy shimmered with sunlight filtering through the leaves, and a sense of magic seemed to hang in the air. For days he journeyed, passing by babbling brooks and clusters of wildflowers. As time passed and hope of finding the right dog appeared to dwindle, he reminded himself that a truly extraordinary quest might lead him in directions no one could expect. Soon his journey brought him to a clearing where an astonishing sight met his eyes, an intricately decorated castle hidden among tall, whispering pines and flowering shrubs. The young prince stepped through the stone archway, marveling at the flawless patterns carved in marble and the peculiar chime of crystal hanging from its walls. As he approached the grand entrance, he noted that everything about the castle exuded otherworldly charm and gentle mystery. To his astonishment, the grand entryway was not guarded by soldiers or even noble courtiers, but by a guard unlike any other, a sleek, elegant creature with soft, shimmering fur and eyes that twinkled with intelligence. It was a cat, but not a common feline. Its posture and expression spoke of mastery and authority. With surprising eloquence, the cat greeted him in a refined tone. "Welcome, traveler. I have long sensed the arrival of one whose spirit is pure and whose determination is unwavering. Please come inside." Overwhelmed by wonder and a sense of destiny, the prince followed the talking creature along winding corridors adorned with sumptuous tapestries and delicate carvings. In a spacious hall lit by a cascade of sunlight, many other cats lounged on velvet cushions and engaged in quiet conversation. Their eyes, resplendent and knowing, seemed to shine with the secrets of the ages. The prince soon learned that the castle was the domain of a remarkable race of cats, intelligent beings capable of speech and endowed with grace and wisdom beyond the measure of mortal men. As the day wore on, the young prince was led into a sunlit chamber where a petite, graceful white cat awaited him. The white cat was breathtaking, her fur as luminous as freshly fallen snow, her eyes deep pools of silver mystery. In graceful, measured tones, she spoke, "I am the queen of this enchanted castle. I have welcomed many seekers to these halls, but never have I met one who bore the gentle mark of destiny as clearly as you do." The prince, both startled and intrigued, bowed low in reverence. "My lady," he said with genuine politeness, "I am but a humble traveler, guided by fate and the desire to fulfill the challenge set by my father. I seek a tiny dog whose beauty is as unparalleled as the morning star." The white cat smiled softly, a knowing glimmer in her eyes. "Sometimes the quest is not to find what seems to be sought, but to discover the treasures hidden within unexpected realms," she murmured, gesturing toward an opulent dining hall prepared for a sumptuous dinner. That evening, under the gentle glow of innumerable candles, the palace of the white cat came alive with music and laughter. The prince dined at a table set with the finest porcelain and silver, where culinary wonders were presented on leaves of gold. The conversations among the cat courtiers flowed like a melodious river, speaking in riddles and gentle proverbs about the nature of fate and destiny. Every moment in this enchanted castle deepened the young prince's wonder. He listened intently as the white cat recounted legends of lost kingdoms and ancient magics, and he shared his own dreams and hopes with sincere candor. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the prince found delight in his unexpected refuge. He explored every chamber of the castle, learning from the cats about the delicate balance between nature and magic. In the grand library, ancient scrolls and books spoke of a world not unlike his own, yet filled with secrets and enchantments that transcended mortal understanding. Evenings were spent strolling through moonlit gardens, where silver dew transformed ordinary petals into sparkling jewels. During these moments, He mused about the strange coincidence of a portrait he had glimpsed in the white cat's delicate locket, a portrait that bore a striking resemblance to his own likeness. When he inquired about this mysterious similarity, the white cat merely offered a gentle smile and said, "Some bonds extend beyond the realms of sight and reason, dear prince." For nearly an entire year, the young prince remained in the magical castle, savoring every charming nuance and absorbing the wisdom of its inhabitants. He grew not only in knowledge, but also in understanding, learning that true strength came from compassion, humility, and a willingness to embrace the unpredictable nature of destiny. Yet, as the passing days reminded him of the quest that had brought him here, the white cat, ever perceptive of his inner conflict, reminded him with tender firmness of the task he had been set. "Dear prince," she said one gentle morning as they walked along a path of perfumed blossoms, "the time has come to continue on the journey you began. I will bestow upon you a gift that shall aid you in fulfilling your duty. Within this acorn lies a secret. You must take it and open it when you return to your father's court." The prince accepted the acorn with trembling hands, awed by the symbolic power it seemed to hold. Without hesitation, he bid farewell to his newfound friends, promising to return in his heart, even as he left the realm of talking cats behind him. Back at his father's palace, amidst splendor and expectation, the prince presented the acorn to the astonished king. With regal ceremony and a crowd of eager courtiers, the prince cracked open the acorn before the eyes of all. To the amazement of the assembly, inside shimmered an impossibly tiny dog, a creature so delicate and exquisitely formed that it danced gracefully upon the stone floor, its tiny paws tapping out a song of enchantment. The court erupted in exclamations of wonder, and though the older princes had failed to bring such a marvel, the king wore a proud, satisfied smile. Yet, even as the youngest son was celebrated as the clear winner of the contest, the king's heart remained encumbered with caution, and he soon deemed it necessary to test his sons once more. Before long, the king declared a second challenge to all his sons. Now, he proclaimed in a voice that resonated through the vaulted halls of the palace, "I command you to search for a fabric most extraordinary, a muslin so fine that it can be drawn through the eye of a needle." The decree was met with determined nods and murmurs of assent from the sons. The two eldest, still burning with a desire to prove themselves, set off at once, combing the lands far and wide in search of the miraculous material their father desired. They delved into bustling textile markets, visited secluded villages renowned for their weavers, and even traded fortunes with merchants of distant lands. In their travels, they eventually gathered muslin, yes, but it was muslin that could pass easily through the eye of a relatively large needle, yet nowhere near the miraculous fineness that the king had decreed. The youngest prince, having completed his first task with grace, now faced the new challenge. Despite the urgency of his father's demand, his thoughts turned immediately to the realm of the enchanted castle and the compassionate white cat who had imparted kindness and wisdom to him. Instead of joining his brothers on the arduous road, he made his way back to her hidden castle in the deep woods, his heart filled with fond memories and hope for more revelations. The white cat received him with open arms and a regal air of affection. With a delighted purr, she said, "Welcome back, dear prince. You have returned as the fates intended. Remain with us for a little while longer, and in time your greatest wish shall yet be granted." Entranced by her soothing voice and the timeless charm of the castle, the prince consented. For another year, he spent his days in cheerful companionship with the talking cats, partaking in glittering feasts, engaging in philosophical debates with wise feline sages, and absorbing the ancient lore inscribed within the castle walls. As the second year concluded, the white cat arranged one last parting gesture that would aid him in his quest. On the eve of his departure, beneath a twilight sky where the stars seemed to wink in silent conspiracy, she led him to a secluded gazebo nestled among whispering willows. There, upon a mahogany table elegantly set with silver and crystal, lay a small walnut, its surface intricately marked as if imbued with magical runes. "Within this walnut," she explained softly, "you will find more than just a seed. Open it when you return to your father's court, and its contents will reveal a marvel beyond compare, a secret woven in the threads of destiny itself." The prince, recognizing the gravity behind her words, accepted the walnut with solemn gratitude and made his way home. Once again, the prince presented his token before the king. The older brothers proudly laid down bundles of muslin that, though finely made, could only pass effortlessly through the eye of a needle when using an exceptionally large one. With polite nods, they awaited the revelation of the youngest son's offering. In a hushed tone, the prince cracked open the walnut amid the awed silence of the court. Out tumbled a tiny hazelnut seed, no larger than a pinprick, yet radiating warmth and promise. With gentle care, the prince opened the seed further, and to the astonishment of all gathered, inside was discovered a quantity of muslin so fine and magnificently embroidered that it could indeed pass through the eye of even the finest, most diminutive needle. The delicate threads shimmered as if spun from moonlight itself, and the embroidery told tales of ancient glories, whispered legends, and the secret lore of enchanted woods and hidden realms. This miraculous revelation left the court and even the king in awe, for here was a marvel beyond the art of mortal craftsmen, a product of magic, destiny, and the persistent, gentle heart of the youngest prince. Though both tasks had been conquered with brilliance wrought from perseverance and enchanted aid, fate was not yet fully sated. The king, ever suspicious and unwilling to yield the throne so easily, prepared one final challenge. "Now," he declared boldly in his grand hall, his eyes piercing all who attended, "the one among you who can win the love and hand of the most beautiful princess shall be named my heir. Go forth and show me that your charm and valor may unite hearts and kingdoms alike." The pronouncement stirred excitement and trepidation throughout the royal family. The older princes, emboldened by their past successes, yet resentful of their younger siblings' miraculous aid, vowed to seek brides of unparalleled beauty and nobility. With an air of braggadocio, they set off on grand expeditions in search of princesses whose radiance would eclipse the dawn itself. The youngest prince, whose heart was gentle and whose destiny had already been touched by enchantment, knew that his path must once again lead him to the hidden castle of the White Cat. With the same sense of anticipation and quiet longing that had drawn him to her years before, he retraced the secret trails and forest paths until at length he found himself once more before the enchanted gates. The White Cat greeted him with a gleam of wistful excitement in her eyes. "Ah, my dear prince, your quest continues, and fate has intertwined our paths yet again," she purred. "I promise to aid you, for you have shown your heart's worth over and over. But know that the task before you shall demand an act of profound sacrifice and love." For the entire coming year, the prince resided at the magical castle, accompanied by the gentle guidance of the White Cat and the shimmering wisdom of her court. Days were filled with lessons on courage and integrity, as well as enigmas and puzzles woven into the fabric of nightly celebrations. The White Cat, elusive as a dream, would often engage the prince in whispered discussions beneath ancient arches, hinting at secrets buried deep within legends. "Tell me, dear friend," he would ask in hushed tones, "what must I do to win this final test? How do I capture not only the beauty of a princess, but the very heart that will make our union eternal?" Yet each time, the White Cat would smile enigmatically, answering, "Patience and trust, dear prince. Some gifts require the greatest measure of sacrifice, and the truest loves are always hidden behind a veil of trials." Time passed slowly in a realm where moments seemed to stretch and contract like the gentle breath of the wind, each day gliding into the next with an otherworldly grace. The prince began to notice how his feelings had deepened, to not only admire the beauty and secrets of the castle, but to come to cherish the White Cat in ways both mysterious and profound. Still, he understood that his destiny lay beyond the comforts of that enchanted hideaway, and that waiting was but one facet of the journey to claim his father's throne and the love of a princess destined for him. At the close of that long enchanted year, the White Cat's eyes shone with a sorrowful resolution as she spoke in a tremulous tone. "My dear prince, I have nurtured you with every kindness and hidden marvel, and now I offer you one final boon. I shall bestow upon you the gift you seek, a beautiful princess who will win the hearts of all who behold her. But there is a task you must perform for me before this gift may come to pass. You must first cut off my head." The prince staggered at her words, his heart pounding in disbelief and anguish. "Why, my lady? You who have been so dear to me, how can I ever bring myself to harm the one who has guided me in every step of my journey?" he pleaded, his eyes glistening with tears of sorrow. The White Cat's gaze softened in a manner both kind and resolute. "It is the only way, dear prince, to break the ancient chains of enchantment that bind me. Only when you complete this act of true sacrifice will I be freed from the guise that has held my spirit captive for so long. In doing so, I shall transform into the princess you seek, and the courtiers of our enchanted world shall reveal their true human forms. Conflicted by deep love and unwavering duty, the prince hesitated as unimaginable sorrow mingled with his sense of duty. Yet, as minutes passed in heavy silence, he recognized that the future of his kingdom and the redemption of a lifetime of secrets depended on his willingness to act. With trembling hands and a voice quavering with both despair and resolve, he said, "If this is the price of our destiny, then I shall obey. Forgive me, my dearest friend, for the love I bear for you cannot change the course fate has set upon us." With a quivering motion born of anguish and necessity, he took a gleaming blade from a nearby table, a relic of ancient valor, and in one swift, heart-wrenching stroke severed the regal head from the graceful neck of the white cat. In that heart-stopping moment of loss and transformation, a luminous radiance filled the gilded hall. The white cat's body quivered beneath a cascade of shimmering light, and in its place emerged a breathtakingly beautiful woman, her features radiant with the soft glow of moonlit dreams. Around her, the transformed members of the court, once the elegant feline advisors, now revealed as young men and women of extraordinary beauty, bowed in gratitude and newfound humanity. In hushed, reverent tones, the newly revealed princess spoke, her voice a melodious blend of sorrow and joy. "I am the princess of an ancient curse. Long ago, my mother, a noble queen, made a desperate bargain with the fairies, a promise for a fairy fruit that bestowed magic beyond mortal ken. In that act, before my very birth, my fate was sealed. The fairies raised me in a lofty tower, inaccessible except through a window so high and narrow that no ordinary mortal could ever find their way inside. They intended me to be wed to an ugly fairy king, a union unfit for the love that resided in my heart." She paused as the assembled audience absorbed her tragic tale. The princess continued, "But fate is as capricious as the wind. One fateful day, as I peered out from my solitary prison, a human king, resplendent with the fire of life and compassion, passed by my tower. My heart, wild and yearning for freedom, led me to conspire with him in secret. We planned our escape beneath the cloak of night, yet the fairies, ever vigilant, discovered our intentions. In their fury, they captured him in the confines of my chamber. My heart shattered, and in a bitter twist of fate, they ended his life, transforming me and my once vibrant court into a host of cats, bound by a curse that could only be broken by the arrival of a man whose kindred spirit bore an uncanny resemblance to my lost love." The prince listened, rapt and sorrowful, his very soul echoing the grief of each word. As the princess's tale wound to its poignant end, it was clear that the enchantments of the castle, the acorn, the walnut, the tiny dog, and the miraculous muslin, were all part of a tapestry of destinies interwoven by sacrifice, forgiveness, and the transformative power of love. At that moment, all doubts were resolved. The previously cold ambitions and rivalries of the two older princes, dwindled in comparison to the profound path their youngest brother had traversed, a journey through realms of enchantment and sacrifice that had led not only to the fulfillment of his father's impossible tasks, but to the redemption of a tragic curse. With the princess by his side, whose beauty transcended physical form and whose sorrow had been replaced by serene hope, the people of the kingdom witnessed a renewed era of love and prosperity. The prince and the now transformed princess journeyed back to the royal palace, and as they arrived, the splendor of the kingdom seemed to rejoice with them. The announcement of their union was celebrated by the people with festivals, ballads, and tales of magic that would be passed from one generation to the next. In a crowning moment of regal benevolence, the white cat, now a princess of destiny, revealed that her magic was far greater than a mere ability to transform forms. She was the guardian of 6 kingdoms. With her extraordinary power, she apportioned a kingdom each to the king and his 2 elder sons, leaving herself and the youngest prince to rule jointly over 3 splendid realms, destined to flourish under a just and compassionate reign. Amidst the festivities of the triple wedding, where the laughter of the people mingled with the soft strains of lutes and flutes, the king, his heart finally at peace, acknowledged that his fears had been unfounded. The trials, though set with wary intentions, had unveiled not treachery, but the true glory of those willing to sacrifice for love and honor. In a voice filled with newfound pride and heartfelt humility, he declared that the youngest son, who had embraced the mysteries of fate and the burdens of sacrifice, would be his heir, and that all of his sons, even those whose journeys took different paths, would together form the backbone of a renewed empire. The celebrations continued through long nights under glittering stars and gentle dawns that whispered promises of hope and unity across the fields and valleys. The newly crowned young king and his beloved princess stood side by side in the palace courtyard, surrounded by their family, loyal subjects, and friends whose lives were forever intertwined with the magic of sacrifice, redemption, and second chances. The soft murmur of gratitude, the embrace of old wounds healed, and the quiet harmony of a kingdom united in joy set the stage for an era where love reigned supreme over suspicion and doubt. As the seasons cycled with gentle inevitability, the majestic realm blossomed under their joint rule. The peoples of the land were uplifted not merely by grand proclamations and regal ceremonies, but by the palpable compassion exhibited in every act of governance. In bustling market squares and tranquil villages alike, tales of the miraculous tasks, the talking cats, the enchanted castle, and the bittersweet sacrifice spread, like whispered lore, a reminder that even through trials and tribulations, celestial blessings may be concealed within the smallest of tokens and the humblest of hearts. In the years that followed, the young king never forgot the lessons learned in the enchanted castle, or the bittersweet sacrifice that had freed a spirit trapped by a cruel curse. He often wandered, incognito, among his people, listening to their dreams and worries, sharing in their joys, and subtly guiding their fates with soft words and kind deeds. The princess, whose gentle eyes carried the mystery of lost memories and long-buried legends, helped establish centers of learning where scholars could study the ancient magics recorded by the feline sages. Together, they fostered an era of enlightenment and prosperity that shook the old order and ushered in a time when magic and mortal ingenuity coexisted in delicate harmony. Their rule became a celebrated story, one recited by firesides and in the courts of foreign lands. The tale of a king's impossible challenges, the devotion of a youngest son, and the extraordinary magic that united him with an otherworldly princess resonated deep within the hearts of all. Each retelling was imbued with the sense that destiny favored those who dared to love and sacrifice selflessly, the very essence of what it meant to be a true leader. In the quiet twilight of many years spent celebrating peace and wisdom, the new king and his beloved princess often sat together, reflecting on the once unimaginable journey that had begun with a simple decree and a humble quest. Their intertwined lives stood as a testament to the transformative power of compassion, the mystique of enchanted realms, and the art of turning even the greatest grief into the sublime tapestry of hope. And so, as the kingdom rested beneath the watchful eyes of ancient starlight and the gentle hum of nightingales, a serene calm enveloped the land. Every heart beat with the knowledge that true beauty lay not in grand gestures or ostentatious displays, but in the quiet, steadfast acts of love that could overcome curses, mend broken dreams, and unite disparate souls in the eternal dance of life. In every whispered legend and every cherished memory, the transformative journey of a prince, aided by magic and sacrifice, would forever shine as an enduring beacon of hope and gentle valor. Sweet dreams. Good night.